Hello, hello. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Ron, aka Ron the Artist, coming to you live. And welcome to Ron's Recap. I'm here today to recap and review the TV show RuPaul's Drag Race on MTV, Season 15, Episode 3, titled All Queens Go to Heaven. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. It was a really good episode. It was a good episode. Highly disappointed. Me and pretty much all of the internet. Like, MTV, what are you guys doing? You guys changed the episode from an hour and 30 minutes, just the Drag Race episode, not the Untucked episode. You guys changed the Drag Race episode from an hour and 30 minutes to an hour, which that made the episode 3 very, very lackluster. Like, I don't know what that was about. I don't know why did MTV choose to do that? Like, this show was doing really, really good on MTV. Oh, I'm sorry, on VH1, which I'm sure people at MTV knows. I'm sure people at MTV knows that this show has been doing really good. There's tons of reviews and ratings throughout the world. This show has been doing really good, especially on cable TV. So the fact that they switched up the program from an hour and 30 minutes to an hour, which I know Ru was like, okay, if we got to do this, we got to do this to keep it on air. But you snubbed the fans. Like, why? There was nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with the show being an hour and 30 minutes. Like, nothing wrong with the show being an hour and 30 minutes long. With Untucked being 30 minutes after the fact. You guys don't air this show. Just like VH1, you guys don't air this show outside of its Friday situation. So, what's wrong with giving this 2 hour gap for that whole little real world situation, Friends real world situation, which I have yet to see, by the way. MTV, please fix it. Please fix it. Please fix it. Please fix it. World of Wonder, RuPaul. I don't know who you guys need to talk to, whose elbow you need to rub and touch, but let's fix it because we're not happy as fans of the Drag Race show. We're not happy. MTV, do better. Okay, rant over. All right, back to it. Okay, so let's get into the episode, guys. The episode, it was good. You know, it was good. It was good. It was good. You know, still a lot of girls. And the episode started with the girls, you know, reading Irene's mirror message along the lines of her saying she shitted in someone's station. She left shit in someone's makeup station, which was hilarious. And then Lux goes on her confessional interview, and says, yeah, shit, that bitch probably did. She probably shitted in my 40-inch wig. Crazy and shady. Crazy and shady. Again, I still feel like Irene went home way too soon. At least the girl should have had at least another 4 more episodes under her belt. But okay. So then after that, the girls started recapping the elimination process, and it just got real because they just watched somebody go home, you know. And, you know, they were checking in on Amethyst and Lucy LaDuca for also being in the bottom. You know, they were the bottom 3, but Lucy LaDuca was, you know, the first to be safe. And they did a brief clarify of Amethyst and Robin Fierce's ex situation. Honestly, nobody really cares like that. The chemistry between them, at least we haven't seen, probably because MTV is maybe cutting it out. Yes, that was shade. But we haven't really seen much of a connection from the two, so nobody really cares about the connection between Amethyst and Robin Fierce. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth. Okay, carry on. The next day, after that moment, after the night of, you know, the elimination, the next day, back at the workroom, it's time for this week's challenge, you know. Ru makes the announcement of the Maxi Challenge, which is technically called All Queens Go to Heaven, or he jokingly said the queer after. Pretty much would be, you know, the Queen's interpretation of heaven, of what it may look like and what it sounds like, or whatever else. And he put them in groups, or he at least let them decide what groups they were going to go in. The leader of the group, first leader he picked was Anitra for winning last week's challenge. He then chose Amethyst for winning the lip sync and almost going home. And mind you, it was 15 girls. So those two girls had to pick four other girls to be on their team, which make 5 girls each on their team, to leave 5 girls that did not get chosen to be in their own group, which they end up calling the leftovers. Another shady situation. So Team Anitra ended up being Anitra, Lux, Sasha, Estides, and Marsha. You know, Team Amethyst ended up being Amethyst, of course, Lucy LaDuca, Aura, Spice, and Poppy, leaving the 5 girls to be left to be Jax, Sugar, Robin, Malaysia, and Mistress. The 2 big girls. Like, why y'all had to leave the 2 big girls? Especially Malaysia. Because she's doing pretty good. She's doing pretty doggone good. She's doing pretty doggone good so far. Like, I have no complaints with Malaysia. So, why y'all leave her out? You know? I get you can't pick everybody, but pick at least one of the big girls. Like, you picked one of the twins, so pick a big girl. Spice it up. Add some flavor to it. Just saying. Okay, so off to the group, they went to conceptualize and get the ideas out of what they were going to do and what their concept were going to be about the little skits to, All Queens Go to Heaven. And off rip, Amethyst is in her head. This is her group, and she's already letting the other members of the group kind of take charge, and she's already in her head about ideas and what to do and what not to do. And I'm like, girl, why? Meanwhile, Sasha Colby automatically was given a lead role to be the god, since it's heaven, to be the god of drag. And of course, Sasha took it. She also made the point that, it's pressure. Everybody thinks so highly of Sasha Colby, including me, due to her reputation and just how seasoned she is. So therefore, that's one level of it. Everybody thinks so highly of her and praises her, but it's another level because everybody thinks so highly and praises you, where you feel like you can't mess up, you can't slip, you can't have any bad days because everybody's always looking at you to prevail and be that bitch. So I understand that. Totally. That could be definitely frustrating. But she gracefully took the role, of course. And when it came to group 3, the leftovers, all over the place with their ideas. 1 second, Mistress is giving ideas, then the next second, Sugar was trying to give ideas, and Sugar had a lot of ideas. She was talking a lot, of course. And Jax just all of a sudden was like, oh, you shut up. You know what? You're going to sit over there. I'm going to take charge. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to do that. And you're just going to sit over there and just be quiet. And that was so bitchy and just rude and uncalled for. And Mistress Isabel, was trying to slowly, put pieces together. So the fact that she just took charge and did that, Jax, was crazy. Like, why? That was uncalled for. And then you shunned Sugar. And Sugar kind of, felt bad. It made her, feel bad about herself. I guess, she definitely should have defended herself and, said, wait a minute, bitch. I don't know who you think this is or what you think this is, but you're not going to talk to me like that. You're just not going to talk to me like that. And she should have did that, but she kind of let Jax push her to the side, and that was that. So next up, it came time for the group challenge. And again, leftovers was first, all over the place. They didn't even really have a good concept to even come forth with. Michelle Visage is directing these doggone infomercials for these group projects, and they didn't even know what they were going to do. They didn't have a plan. I guess they had ideas of what they were going to do, but they did not have a plan of this is what was going to happen, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, and that's what's going to happen. They just kind of winged it with some floating ideas. But I will give it to Sugar. Sugar stepped up and was like, hey, were a bunch of ideas to throw at other girls, and other girls didn't quite catch it and It showed, and Michelle Versace was like, this doesn't look like it's going to be good, but you know, they had to continue. The show must go on. The show must go on. It must carry on, and it was looking a mess. So to Anitra's team, centered around Sasha Kobe again being the drag god, the drag god. Like, how ironic, her being the drag god, her being the drag god, and it kind of, get in her head about it as well. Like again, that pressure she was talking about. She kind of like, I guess maybe underperformed. Like the first try, she kind of recited lines, and Michelle stopped and was like, "Cut. I know you can do it better, so let's do it again." And I'm assuming she called it drift. Spoiler alert. They cut that scene short because that was all we saw. Literally, was STDs and Sasha in the very first clip of their scene. And boom, after Michelle said that, like, do it. I know you can do it better, so we're going to do it better. Sasha Colby went into the confessional and said, like, again, it's pressure. And scene. Off, off to Emma Steth's team. Emma Steth's team was kind of cringe as well, starting with Emma Steth. Like, not looking too good for her. Her being in the bottom two last week and lip syncing, like she should be fueled like Lucy LaDuca. And it was like, you're in your head. And that often happens each season. I see, like, there's always girls in their head. Just go with the flow. Just really give it your all. Go with the flow and just have fun with it. Ru always says that. Have fun with it. Give it your all. The least you can do is like make something up and just don't drop the ball completely. Because if you don't drop the ball completely, we still got something to talk about, rate you on. Even though it may have not been the best or the planned situation, you still had fun with it and you still performed, and they will still probably give you an A for effort. And Emma Steph, she still tried and she still gave it effort, but again, it was just obvious that she was in her head and it just wasn't really quite coming together. So again, scene. That was it for the infomercial. Like, very quickly. Came to Elimination Day in the workroom. And Sugar was, talking with her sister as they prepare for the runway. She got a little emotional discussing how, she wished, she could stand up for herself a little bit more because the members of her group kind of walked all over her, Jax. And she was only trying to help and trying to contribute. Yes, she may have been a little chatty about it, and a little kind of annoying about it. The girl probably had great ideas. After all, look at the girl TikTok. Like, look at the girl's social media presence. That's for a reason. They have a presence online for a reason. Yeah, it may not always translate like to something in physical like that, but it goes to show that they have creativity. They have style. They have something that people engage with and watch and tune into. So it might not have been a bad idea to actually hear the girl's ideas, even though she may have been a little annoying about it. Jax was just being a bitch, and spoiler alert, it landed her ass in the bottom three. Period. And I felt like it was well deserving. Like, okay, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Don't get me started, y'all. Do not get me started. Okay, so when it came to the group, Jax did the utmost to take charge again, to sink in with the team, and then tried to act like she didn't when it came to the workroom and talking about it, like, oh, I was the one that had to take charge. I was like, had to be the dot connector pretty much, and blase. And I'm just like, girl, you are oblivious. You aggressively took charge. Yeah, you guys may have been kind of a little all over the place because three people mainly were giving ideas, but you did it very, very aggressively. You shunned Sugar in the process and kind of pushed Mistress out of the mist as well. Just, you didn't kind of give room for other people to really still contribute, even though you quote unquote took charge or felt you had to take charge. So, like, it got to Malaysia, it went to Malaysia in the workroom, her and Mistress, talking about their upbringings. And it hit Malaysia, kind of hard emotionally. as she discussed her religious background and how it impacted her negatively, how it impacted her in a negative way, growing up in a black Christian household and in a church Christian household as well. Black. I talked about this in a review last season. Like, if you know, you know. It's one thing with being gay or under the LGBTQ plus umbrella, but it's another when you're black and under the LGBTQ plus umbrella. And it adds a whole nother layer when you're under the religious umbrella. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a lot of trauma. There's going to be a lot of hearsay and drama and a lot of like shaming and bashing and et cetera, et cetera. And I don't wish it on no one. And it sounds like, Malaysia got a lot of that growing up and questioning who she was and how she was. Like, it was unfortunate. It was unfortunate how that played out. How that played out with her. But I guess she said, in spite of it, her and her mom has a good relationship, and her mom pretty much is her rock. And seeing her tear up, that kind of made me tear up because my story is not quite the same, but it does have some similar pinpoints. And it really kind of brought me to tears when she was like, her mother was her rock, and the fact that she was like, she just wanted to take care of her and do good things for her because that woman pretty much has done that for her in all the ways possible. So I understand that. That showed me that there's some people that standing behind her that she feels like she has to do this for. This is not just this competition is not just solely on her winning the crown and winning $100,000 for her to maybe buy a new car or a house. She has people in the back of her depending on her, waiting to see her win and prevail, and probably people waiting to see her fail as well. So she has a lot riding on her back to just win, prove everybody wrong, and just to make her mother happy. Well, she did say she's not looking for anybody's approval, but you get the drift. That she still has things riding on her back where she has things to prove to herself and to her mother for the most part. And for that reason, I kudos. Like I resonate with her. I feel for her in Malaysia. I feel you, girl. I feel you. Okay, so in the midst of Mistress consulting her about that, Mistress Isabel, she gave her a little bit of background on herself as well, and it kind of had similar pinpoints where her mom kind of disowned her when she found out her drag stuff, like, oh, all this gay shit is not going to happen in my house, and bashed gay people, and they're pretty much all going to catch AIDS and HIV, and kind of heard similar stories to that growing up, or like how gays are bashed and it's the lowest of the low and da 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 da. And I guess Mistress felt like she didn't have a place to go or a place to be herself, and that kind of made her start getting emotional. That started making her get emotional, and I guess she at that point kind of felt like she had to isolate herself to really be herself. That's another thing that a lot of gays, I'm sure, resonate with. You got to kind of isolate to be yourself. To find yourself, you have to isolate from people that won't allow you to be yourself. And she leaned more onto the drag scene, which after she isolated herself away from her family, which the drag scene is what kept her fed, kept her bills paid or whatever, if she had bills at the time or whatever, but it just, kept her working and kept her in survival mode. And I'm glad this show showcased that, because they showcased that pretty much each season that I've watched is that drag is just not art. Drag is something like completely bigger than that. Yes, it's art, but the communities behind it, the communities that form behind it, that are in it. Like, it's really families. It's families, it's chosen families, people that have love for one another that they probably can't get in the external world, back in their homes, in their families, their real blood families. And I guess the drag world is an uplifting place for people of the LGBTQ plus community. It's an uplifting place and welcoming place, and it does wonders for people who've been through things. That is definitely what I've taken from the show when it comes to drag. Drag is so much more than just performing. Drag is an outlet for people. Whew. All right, y'all. All right, let me get out of that state, because I really felt it. I really felt it. I really felt it. Okay, so pretty much after that was said, it was time for the runways. Again, another cutoff. They didn't even give room to kind of let anybody else, talk about it or see anybody else chime in or anything. But to the runway. Ru graced the stage in this beautiful gold dress and white hair, big white hair, beautiful as always. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And she gave, the category, titled Metallics. And I love Metallics. I love Metallics. Also, shout out to my girl T.S. Madison. My girl T.S., I'm happy to see you on this damn panel. You better do the damn thing, T.S. Love you always. Okay. Okay, so the first up in this category to walk the runway was Anitra. Silver and black corset. It was a silver and black corset with like a shoulder pads and long silver jacket down to the floor damn near. And she had silver heels on. And I'm like, okay, this is okay. But it also kind of favors the look she had last week on the runway. Like these kind of superhero-ish looks. And I like to see a little bit more from her, Anitra, when it comes to the looks. I like to see it. Next up was Sasha Colby. Another fave. Well, a fave. I loved what she had on. A metallic bodysuit. That was kind of like a corset with lots of skin, like arms and legs shown, and metallic like heels and wings. And she had a helmet with like spikes coming out of it, and wings with spikes coming out of it. And it had like silver, and it was just stunning. Again, it was stunning. It was stunning. Next up was Selena Estides. Silver, she had a silver, like baggy, like bodysuit, lamp on the head with signs on her body. And honestly, I didn't care for it that much. Like, meh. I could say, like, in spite of me feeling like she can be a little obnoxious, how loud as she is, I like her energy. I would say that. I like her energy. But her looks, I feel like, either a hit or miss. I feel like her looks are a hit or miss, and so far they've been a mix of both, in my opinion. So I would like to see what a Selena Estides is really going to continue to bring. The next up, Lux London. Loved hers too. I give her 2 stars out of 3. Gold dress, exposing legs with a long tail to the dress, with gold nails, like these weird gold nails, and gold heels. Also, gold earring on one ear, on the left ear solely. And I loved it. Like, she has legs and body for days. Like, her physique is stunning, and she knows how to work her body. Definitely. Next up was Marsha, portraying the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz, and I recognized it almost instantly. Her favorite character from The Wizard of Oz, and it was in silver, and it kind of had a little splash of gold, it looked like. Silver like dress with like gray hair, and her makeup was slightly different. She had even gray on the nose, but Michelle didn't think it was enough or more makeup like it was in comparison to last week, as they critiqued her on to really get into this makeup. If you're going to do drag, do it. And I don't feel like she's really serving it with the makeup. Although, I do think her drag is good. So hopefully next week we'll get to see Marsha really dive in with this makeup. Because in Untucked, spoiler alert, Mistress gave her a little more ideas on what to do as far as makeup. So I want to see it. Next up, 3 stars, Amethyst. You know, for Amethyst to, I guess, to not be such a, I guess, the greatest presence on the show, I like the looks that she comes with. I love her name, if I haven't told you guys that yet. I love the color of Amethyst, lavender. And I wish she had probably did like a lavender, like metallic like color if she could have pulled that off versus the gold. But I still love the shit out of this gold. This golden goddess type dress with like big blonde hair and like gorgeous gold boots with a crown on her head. And it was just gorgeous to watch her and look at her. And she had this big poofy train like coming from her. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Like, again, Emma says, honestly, I haven't really seen like one bad look from her on this runway. I like it. Next up was Princess Poppy. She had a simple like silver/blue silhouette with like blue hair and blue heels. It had a presence. It wasn't too weak, but in comparison, as TS said to her, in comparison to the others on that runway, it didn't really hit. It should have been some better material. That material was, I guess, maybe bendable, when you can tell the other material that the others girls were kind of hard material, if that makes sense. So she could have came a little harder with that. Next on the runway was Spice in blue and silver metallic with like her robot dog. Oh my God. That robot dog. I forget the name of the freaking robot dog, but part of my childhood. 90s baby, of course. And she said it was inspired by Judy Jetson, but I say the Bratz doll. Her and Sugar, they give Bratz doll all day on their Instagram, and it shows with their hair and their makeup that they're inspired by the Bratz. And it turned out well for her. That look was okay. Not one of my favorites, but it was okay. Next up was Aurora Mayari. 3 stars for that. 3 out of 3 stars. She stepped it up from last week. Remember, I kind of drug her a little bit. That I was like, okay, how I feel about Jax this week. For you to be up here and staying you up here, like your drag needs to be up there with it. And Aura stepped it up this week. You know, I loved her green and gold metallic. It gave Rita from the Power Rangers / Poison Ivy, like, she had like this doggone helmet that was green and gold with a body, like a silhouette body piece to match it. And it just gave. It gave. And I'm just like, oh, way to go, Aura. I love the look this week. You stepped your cookies up. In the words of T.S. Madison, you stepped your pussy up. Stepped your pussy up. The next one. Another 3 stars, Lucy LaDuca. She had pink and gold metallic. Love that color combo. Silhouette with boots to match. Gold heels with blonde hair. Skilled. I loved the way it looked. It was stunning. Also kind of looked like a Power Ranger like outfit, but it was stunning. And whoever made it, you could tell they spent a lot of time and energy on that. She probably paid a lot of money for that look to be done as well. Stunning. Next up on the runway was Jax. I like she went with her name inspired, Jax from Mortal Kombat. I like that alone. I'm a huge fan of Mortal Kombat, but the look didn't really do a whole lot for me. It was a mix of like gray with like camouflage, like as a fighter, with like black boots. And the judges, well, at least one of the judges, the guest judge, Maren Morris, she liked it, but I didn't really care for it that much. Next on the runway was Robin Fierce. I gave her 2 stars out of 3. Gold silhouette with gold fabric, down to the ankle, like dress, like, well, no, it wasn't a dress. It was like a piece of fabric down on her left side, or to her ankle, with the silhouette cutting off, at the crotch. And it was decent, gold boots with wristbands. Also had a staff. It gave Goddess Warrior. And she had braids. African Goddess Warrior. Like, it looked good on her. I want to say something about Robin Fierce. Outside of the whole connection with her and Amethyst, her drag, I really like her drag. I think she's kind of the ones that maybe kind of get looked over. She's one of the ones that's, so far, that's not really talked about much. even on the show, maybe she doesn't get a whole lot of shine outside of that whole little conversation with her and Amethyst. But individually, her drag is pretty solid so far. And she's a good performer. So I've seen so far. So she's another that I would like to see where this is going to go with her. Okay, so the next one was Mistress. Mistress Isabel. Gold dress with like gold fluffy shoulder pads with like white blonde hair and gold heels. And I know she's a big girl and all, but I hated the shape of that dress, preferably around the stomach. She also had chains around the stomach. You could see where her stomach started at. It was like that was also like some benny like fabric almost that I just said that also that Princess Poppy had on. Like, but it wasn't shaped right. And as a big girl, I see a lot of big girls do it. Like Malaysia, for example. As a big girl, she made the dress or the silhouette or whatever she had on flat. That dress could have been flat in the front, which I know the girls are known for doing that. But it wasn't flat. It just, the shape of that dress did not do nothing for me. It didn't hit. And I was like, eh. All right, Mistress. Mistress Isabel, I need you to step your cookies up too. You got a whole lot of presence outside of drag, you know, with the girls in the workroom or whatever. But I need you to step your drag up too. I have seen one or two looks that are good, but I would like to see you step your drag up just a little bit more. Like, get it up there, hike that son of a gun up like 2 more notches, and it will be on a different scale. Period. The next look on the runway was Pink. Oh, I'm sorry, Sugar, who gave Pink and Silver Galactic Bratz inspired outfit. Super cute. Loved it. She's not one of my it wasn't one of my favorites, but it was cute. I loved it. And the last one, the last of the doggone runway, Malaysia. Like, I loved it. I gave her 1 star out of 3. But I still loved the damn look. It was silver and white dress, like mix with like silver chains and gray hair. Like, she knows how to shape her body. She knows how to shape it. She knows how to shape the gowns. I don't see too many heels and shoes from her. Maybe that's intentional. But I would love, like, I know she'd probably have on flats because she had on flats with that entry look she had. She probably have on flats, but it's hidden. So I'd like to see what type of heel she'd be wearing or what type of foot she'd be wearing, like shoes she wears. But for the most part, again, it was a good look. Good look, good look, good look. Okay, so after that, that was all the runways. Came time for the performance of the commercial, the infomercials, to see the performances. Off rip, Sasha's neck cracking to go to each place in heaven was hilarious. Stood out, memorable, and I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. The next group performance, Lucy LaDuca's group, kind of was meh. It kind of was meh. It was kind of meh. But Lucy LaDuca had a moment. I liked her Dolly Parton image. That was all she had at the very end, and I liked it. It was memorable, and I was like, okay. Like it. And then Team Leftovers. Team 3. That was kind of meh, too. Kind of meh. Like, but the two that stood out to me was Malaysia and Mistress. They did the best out of the group. Even though they just threw something together, those two did the best, and I'm glad they did. The big girls is trying to, they're stepping it up. They're not sleeping. They're not falling in the back. Especially Malaysia. Mistress, like I said, I feel like she's okay. But I just want to see a little bit more from her. Yeah, so once that was over, the announcements of the order of safe, winner, bottom was announced. The queens that were safe was Anitra, Selena Estides, Marsha, Spice, Aura Murari, Robin Fierce, Mistress, Sugar, and Malaysia. So leaving the 6 left was Sasha, Lux, Amethyst, Princess Poppy, Lucy LaDuca, and Jax. The judges loved and praised Sasha's performance and runway, which I loved both too. Especially that damn runway. She's showing us why she's here. She's showing us why she has this reputation. Sasha, stay out of your head. Do not let the pressure get to you. Do not let the pressure get to you. Just continue being great, as you're known for doing. Just do you, be great, and just give it your all. The judges loved Lux's performance. They loved her performance. Her outfit, definitely, I liked it a lot. I really liked it as one of my favorites, but they loved her performance more. The judges didn't really like Amethyst. They didn't like really what Amethyst served this week. Like I said, I loved her damn look so much, but they didn't like, I guess they didn't really compliment the look or the damn, her performance. But it was more so the performance that they critiqued for sure with her. The judges, felt Princess Poppy. They didn't think she did. They didn't think she didn't bring enough as far as the look, or she didn't have much of a presence in the performance, the infomercial. The judges loved Lucy LaDuca's performance, and they loved her look. And like I said, I love that damn look too. And Lucy LaDuca, she got that fire under her this week, and she redeemed herself from the bottom 3 this week. Spoiler alert. In the last, in that 6 that was left, the judges disliked Jack's performance, but they were okay with her runway look. The Maren Morris again, she was okay with her runway look, and I was like, yeah. And her performance in the infomercial was also not that memorable, and Ru called it out too, and kind of shaded her with it too, as well. So, Jax, all your BS, your take charge energy, shunning energy, it backfired on you, girl. All of that resulted into the winner of the week. The winner of the challenge was Sasha Colby. Well deserved. My girl Sasha Colby, well deserved, well deserved, well deserved. Congrats, my love. Hopefully there will be more that she wins. I like to see it. I like to see it. I like to see it. Absolutely. That resulted also to Lucy LaDuca and London being safe. Okay, leaving the bottom 3 to be Amethyst, Princess Poppy, and Jax. Jax ended up being safe, leaving the bottom 2 to lip sync, which was Amethyst and Princess Poppy. They lip sync. They lip sync to "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" by Diana Ross. As Selena Esteti said, Ru is a huge fan of Diana Ross. Do not fuck this up. And honestly, both of them did great in their lip sync. Honestly, I felt Poppy won it. She worked the damn stage. Nobody has ever, I've seen, have went from the stage down to the girls that are safe and standing in the back of the stage. She kind of went back there. She went back on the stage, showing all kinds of like crotch and, tuck, not like tuck, but the outfit. And I thought it was pure entertainment. She gave. Meanwhile, Amethyst really gave a performance too. But, push came to shove. Ru chose Amethyst to be safe. I guess maybe Ru felt Princess Poppy did too much to the Diana Ross song. So, that was it. The person that ended up going home was Princess Poppy. And honestly, I didn't see that too soon for her. Her presence, she had a presence. She wasn't a bad queen. She was not a horrible queen. I didn't see her going to the top 4, I would say that, but I didn't see her going home second. She didn't do that bad of a performance this week, if you ask me. And the last 2 notes I got, as far as the untucked Jax Marie G, she went on to like try to dwindle in the untucked. She went on to try to dwindle down the damage she did with her group. Like, oh, I was the one that had to take charge, and I didn't think that I was going to be the bottom, and I did this, I did that. Like, no, girl. You did something, which landed your ass at the bottom 3, karma, and backfired on your ass. And you should have just went with the flow of things and like, yeah, maybe you could have took a little charge and maybe help put the pieces together, but what you did, it looked like it harmed the group. You didn't do much of anything, but just kind of be an ass. And you probably should have owned that and apologized to Sugar Jax. Just saying. Last note, I like the fact that Mistress, she told Sugar, to stand up for herself and acknowledge that Sugar should have stood up for herself when it came to Jax, shunning her and, downplaying her. But you let Jax kind of walk over her in that moment. And you watched it happen. So I'm like, okay, I like the fact that you acknowledged it and like don't let nobody do that to you, and you kind of uplifted her in that moment, but you kind of watched it happen. So that doesn't quite make you that much better, mistress. I'm kind of on the fence with her. I see the presence like of her like being nice. There's like a slightly a mothering energy about her, but at the same time, she can be a total bitch. She can be a total bitch, and I don't know how I feel about that. She can be a total bitch. Um, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Come next week, maybe things may change. My feelings may change toward her. We'll see. But for the most part, again, the episode was good. MTV, get your shit together. Make the album, make the episode, make back an hour and 30 minutes with the Untucked being an additional 30 minutes. It did not need that. The fans were upset. Everybody is upset, including me. Get it together. RuPaul, World of Wonder. Fix it, fix it, fix it. Viacom. Whoever, fix it. Until next time, folks. See you next week. Peace.